this was rather interesting. The way I had the ability, reminded to me by the guide who featured in that real-side experience, to use energy to prise open a hole in the very screen and make a space big enough that I could crawl through and effectively access the conduit to where it connected to, in that experience, an open country area in some future world, dimension, or place. For after that very dream experience, I would continue to seemingly practice this ability without the presence of the guide, but I'm sure the guide was close at hand and keeping an eye on my activities, maybe in case I became stuck in a portal or something. The procedure was the same, and it seemed that I was translocating all over the place via these portals, and the portals utilized were always in the form of televisions. I had a sense as though I was doing this for a greater purpose than just the entertainment value or novelty of it. My real self was at the wheel, the personal self hanging onto its coattails and bewildered as to what was transpiring. Whenever I would pass through the television, through the conduit to the other side, wherever it took me, I would then go and seek another portal of a more twinkly portal-looking variety and make use of this. The television portals always seemed to feature on more mundane physical level rooms and buildings, and the twinkly spiraling portals always in more exotic locations. Many times, in order to reach a twinkly portal, I had to battle through creatures, monsters, and individuals who seemed to be guardians of these very portals. At one point, I spent quite an inordinate amount of time blasting away at this never-ending surge of bug-like creatures with a kind of laser weapon, having to grab a few conveniently placed recharging ammo packs due to the sheer volume of the bugs. When the bugs were dispatched, I would then go through the portals the bugs were representing an obstacle to. On one occasion, there was a very formidable, giant-like individual, and here a guide would step in and distract this monstrous man, allowing me to get through the portal unscathed. So yes, the guides evidently facilitating and encouraging my activity, my portal adventure, and close at hand, should a presented situation or portal obstacle be of a nature that I required their assistance. This would continue on, and toward the end of my portaling activities, I was in the living room of a house with my parents. Peter and Gwen seemed they had agreed to participate. Often I will go about my adventures and bring others along with me, or invite their participation, and they must of course agree and be willing to be a part of the adventure for it to be so. Seems my parents and I were waiting for a phone call, and this would be the go-ahead for what would be my final portal journey through the television that sat in the corner. There was an anticipation in the air. I knew the caller would be a guide, giving me the green light to proceed. The phone rang. I received a confirmation and announced to my parents we were to travel through this portal, explaining to them the particulars by which I create a hole in the TV screen and what we might expect to find on the other side, what we would be doing, and the means of our return. As they hadn't participated up until this final portal, I felt it prudent to brief them. The dream would end here, on the verge of one final portal adventure. So again, this had the feel of a practice, a training, a preparation that perhaps somewhere down the line may be required, and the various bugs and giants were undoubtedly representing the dark forces in all their forms as they seek to interfere with our activities, aware of what we are doing and not liking it, as what we are doing is seeking to extricate ourselves from their matrix of control and encourage others to do likewise through all the various experiences, adventures, and activities we partake in on the real side. And with awareness comes the ability to handle the dark forces, the scattering of the bugs, for this is what they are, what they choose to be. With our laser guns ablazing, if things get a bit dicey. And the real guides always watch out for their own. So we have unparalleled and automatic protection. Our awareness and connection to the ears affords us this, as on many real side experiences, seems the new friends are rehearsing various means by which they can move their awareness throughout creation. Practiced, it seems, in dropping the physical vehicle at will, should situations demand this a necessity, a chosen transition, like shrugging off an overcoat, not a suicide per se, but an acceptable response, and one that makes sense, to avoid unnecessary hardships should things become tumultuous on the physical life level. Also practicing are we the ability to translocate on the real side and the physical, ourselves and groups now it seems, possibly for again potential future upheavals on the physical, that allow us more time to complete our awareness process on higher life levels or positions in creation, that being on a destructing physical level would prove hard to achieve. All these variations I have seen and experienced on the real side with new friends. There is in actuality no travelling going on. Everything is. Everything contained in every new now moment. Travel, space, and time are just agreed upon cause and effect experiential, individualized blocks of happenings that the personal self can only walk through sequentially. So all these methods of travel and motion on the real side are for the personal self's consideration mainly, and as we bring the experiences back to the personal self, it has to place them in a sequence of events, of travel from point A to point B, because the personal self that must explain and convey the real side adventures can only do so from a consideration of space, distance, time, and sequence experience processing. The real self simply is, so everything would just be. But that would be rather hard to describe as an experience. How would the personal self quantify or literally convey a perspective of isness? And besides, it needs the cause and effect experiences as viewpoint comparisons to recognize this state of isness and the true reality. All experiences really are for the personal self then. When we fully stand with the ears and recognize how to be so, the personal self and the experiences it needs to recognize the ears would no longer be required. In the meantime, then, we have experiences that seem to involve travel as a necessity in order to get from where we are, maybe the imploding physical level, to where we'd be better being at, a higher life level for our continued process of awareness and is recognition. This addition to the array of potential means of travel then seems to involve portals utilizing the television from seemingly the physical level. I've had real side dreams where I've practiced the art of making portals on the real side also. A delicate affair that if executed poorly, generally if the personal self creeps in, they can be misaligned, and I can end up in unsavory, unintended areas of creation, like the lower astral, as I did on a few occasions. Interestingly enough, how entities from the lower astral seem to be more energy-orientated beings and are utilizing the technology prevalent in human experience now to not only influence situations here, but connect in with people and potentially energy usurp them, or even hijack their personal vehicles. Everything in creation, every body vehicle, is in essence holographic. It is a simulator after all, and holographic in nature, along electromagnetic lines. The simulator and our vehicles are electromagnetic in their design, frequencies and vibrations. So it's not a stretch that the human vehicle can connect in with technology, and of course, as a species, is being led along these lines for control purposes, transhumanism and the singularity, etc., the merging of consciousness with technology. Not such a hard feat, as computers, TVs, and human vehicles are electromagnetic by their natures. And so perhaps the opportunity to take advantage of this electromagnetic compatibility as another means of travel. Perhaps it seems that we may be being prepared and practiced in this ability also, that we can perhaps utilize the very televisions and travel through the electromagnetic conduits and relocate to safer havens. We may even drop the physical vehicles for the same reasons I have described, and utilize the very televisions to move our awareness to other positions. The technology certainly is black magic, a distortion, and its origins may well stem from the astral level or the life levels unseen but revealed on the real side, as the entities I have seen that dwell in the lower astral are able to connect in to the technologies on the physical from there. If one were to drop the physical vehicle, one would automatically be on the astral anyway. No need to follow a technological energy conduit to a level we will find ourselves on, in the event we discard the physical vehicle. But perhaps the energetic conduit can be used to travel further into the life levels, according to the awareness that allows recognition of them. But again, we'd be doing that anyway, no portals required. The only factor then is the dropping of the physical vehicle at will. Perhaps the practice of energetically converging with the electromagnetism of technology facilitates this ability to discard the physical vehicle. And this perhaps then is another means by which individuals on their awareness process can relocate themselves by whatever means necessary to avoid experiencing severe physical level cataclysms, as everyone is different and will take to different skills and abilities. So it's as though we are practicing every option available to us. We are being trained in all these various ways by the guides, so we all have this capability when and if the time comes where we will have reason to do this. we have all agreed upon and decided the overall experience in creation we find ourselves in, but with connection to our real awareness, stepping beyond cause and effect creation and connecting with the is, we can stand in the new nowness of the true reality and so negate any karma, any effects of demise that we would otherwise have had to experience, with those choosing to remain with the personal self. So we have more options the more aware we become, and that involves, it would seem, a greater adventure and a potential relocation to better creational areas should the need arise.
Thank you for getting through that, Kevin. That was great. Yes, as always. This is a series like Indiana Jones, but you've got more than just 3 movies, don't you?
Yeah, I've got plenty more up my sleeve. Don't worry about that.
I know you do. You're wonderful. Thank you for the confirmations, you and Pierce and everyone else. Thank you so much. You kids are doing good. You and the family. It's a family affair. Yes, thank you so much.